Another cold one. Alright, Bruce, let's go to work. I'm running late again today. This is the problem with working early. I don't want to get up. I hold off on getting out of bed. And then I'm rushing to get out the door. My wife's pissed at me because instead of getting in the shower right away, I sat in bed and I was going through Twitter. I was trying to find out any more details on the attack at that Quebec City mosque last night. It's frustrating because the attack happened around 8:30 or so. Two suspects were arrested, one like nearby and then one like apparently 40 kilometers away. But the police haven't released the names of the suspects or any details about the suspects. But that doesn't stop, people on Twitter from putting forward theories and things like that. So I figured this morning I might have some insight, but I guess they're not going to release the names until these guys are actually officially charged and brought before a judge. So, but in case you're unaware, or just a refresher if you're watching this video later, what's today? The 30th? 29th? Today's the 30th. So, Sunday evening around 8:30, two gunmen went into a mosque in Quebec City, opened fire. The death toll right now is at 6, with another 8 wounded. There are about 30 or 40 people who were there. Most of them escaped. The victims range in age between 40 and 70, so it was a lot of middle-aged, 30 and 70, middle-aged men, all men apparently, because the women and the children are upstairs. An anonymous witness said that they had Quebecois accents, and that somebody had shouted Allahu Akbar, and then opened fire. These are the only details that have come out, and they're the ones that everybody's running with, right? So when it initially happened, before I guess the witness had made their testimony available to news outlets, and people just read the headline, people were going, oh, of course this is Trump's fault, right? Which is, it's aggravating for sure, but people mouth off on Twitter. People say things without thinking on Twitter, right? Without having all the facts, people just give their unvarnished, immediate thoughts. Anyway, and then it came out that there was a police scan. Someone was listening to the police scanner, and the names of they had two suspects named, and their names were Middle Eastern sounding, right? So people say, and the fact that they were shouting Allahu Akbar, people are like, well, it's Muslim terrorists. Well, now it's being said, and again, this is unverified, nothing verified by police or officials, but that one of them was Moroccan born and the other one was a native Quebecois. It's just irritating because I want some more details. I want to know what's going on. And there was also this thing floating around that they're using an AK-47. A witness said that they were using an AK-47. Well, again, not an official report. Nothing from the police on weapons seized, right? We don't know. Could have been handguns. There's no video footage released, but it could have been just a semi-automatic rifle. But someone says AK-47, you assume when someone uses an actual specific name of a firearm that they know a little bit about firearms, but that's not always the case. AK-47s are very extremely hard to come by here in Canada. Fully automatic weapons are prohibited. People are not allowed to possess them. So if it was an AK-47, if it was really an AK-47, then it implies that whoever committed the attack have ties to some less than savory organizations, which means they could very well be terrorists, right? I don't know at this point. It's just, but it's of course saddening and worrisome, and I mean there's been terrorist attacks here in Canada, but thankfully they're few and far between. What boggles the mind is if indeed they are, it was a terrorist attack by Muslims, or a Muslim, at least one Muslim. Maybe they're both Muslims, who knows? Why they would attack a mosque? Could it be sectarian? Could it be Sunni versus Shia? Could it be, I don't know. We don't have any details yet, and I imagine we're not going to hear any details till, either later today or even, this evening's news. I like Twitter because it's, it gets you exposure to a lot of people's thoughts and ideas about things in a real-time basis, but it's, it's a bad source to get your news. And case in point, the Daily Beast, this is, a journalist outfit, right? These are people at the Daily Beast who do journalism for a living. They're paid to do it. They wrote a story, they covered this story, and they put that the suspects' names were two Canadian white supremacists that I guess are known somewhere. I have no idea. I don't know who are white supremacists in Canada. But two Canadians and their specific names, right? They got this from a fake Reuters Twitter feed. It was Reuter Break, REUTERBRK. Not even Reuters, right? And it has the logo, except it's missing the S on the end. But the Daily Beast, an outfit that supposedly does journalism, they didn't confirm their source. They went to Twitter and they saw this thing that looked, at a glance, looks legitimate, right? But the tweet doesn't even link to a story that the Reuters had released, right? So I'm wondering whose heads are going to roll over at the Daily Beast. And it was up for a good long time. I'm sure it's been taken out down by now. Now they realize the error. But when people, criticize the media for fake news, this is what they're talking about. They're not talking about, the blogger. I mean, the media are talking about the bloggers who don't verify sources. I guess Daily Beast is a blog. It's not really a blog. Well, no, it's a news site, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but is the Daily Beast not a news site? Or is it some schmuck in his basement who runs a blog called the Daily Beast? My understanding was it's an actual news site. I don't know the nature of it because I don't read the Daily Beast, but this is what we're talking about when it's fake news, right? Here, a news outlet, an organization, a group of individuals, whatever, a company who does news for a living, got duped by a fake Reuters account, a fake news account, a hoax or bogus clone account of Reuters. And they put an article out there that anybody looking at it, reading it, because of the way it's structured, it reads like a regular news piece. And this is what I say this is what I mean when I say journalists don't do any of the heavy lifting anymore. There are news outlets on the ground in Quebec City, I'm certain, talking to police, standing beyond the yellow line, talking to police, getting as much information as they could. But CTV News, CBC, New York Post, New York Times, CNN, all of them had the same actual facts of the situation. 2 people have been arrested. 5 people were dead, more were injured. Now, the only more details they have this morning are that it's now 6 people dead, 8 people injured, some of them with life-threatening injuries. But you know, again, this desire to be the first with any pertinent information, so that you can say you broke the story, is what led to the Daily Beast putting out erroneous information because they read it somewhere and they thought, oh, this has a logo that I'm familiar with, and that looks close to the logo associated with a news service called Reuters, so I'm going to use it. You know, and all that took was basically, you should verify your sources with a second source, right? So if Reuters had actually posted the names of the suspects, and then AP had also posted the names of the suspects, then it would be reasonable for the Daily Beast to go, okay, we've got verification from 2 reliable news feeds, news sources. We're going to put it in our story. But no, whoever wrote that story, they didn't verify anything. And they didn't even look to an actual feed. They just read a Twitter. They just read a tweet and said, oh, it's verified. The logo looks good. And you know, Chris Matthews was talking to Kellyanne Conway, talking about that's offensive when you say that, you know, we're the opposition party. Or that's offensive to say that journalists don't have integrity. What? Do you blame people for not trusting you? And the thing that's bothering me is that now it's in Canada, right? And we as citizens don't really have anywhere we can go where we can get pertinent facts about the situation. I guess the most pertinent fact to anybody living in the area is there are no other suspects. They're not looking for any other suspects. The 2 that they found are the only ones that they believe were involved. Originally, there was talk of 3 or 4 gunmen. Now, apparently, I guess the police have ruled that out. What I'm curious about is, one of them was found like right nearby. The other one was found 40 kilometers away, which means they bolted and they must have gone in separate directions. How did they know to find the guy 40 kilometers away? Maybe it was just a routine stop and he fit a description. I have no idea. But I'm glad they got the guys. I'm waiting to find out who they are, what they were thinking, why they chose this particular mosque, what kind of weapons they were using, because, you know, I got my license to buy firearms a little while back, and I don't want my ability to buy firearms restricted because of this attack. See, in Canada, it's much more, things happen at a faster pace when it comes to gun laws because things are so restricted here already. Anytime there's an attack with a gun, like a mass shooting, because it's under the jurisdiction of the RCMP to simply decide laws regarding guns, they'll just do a blanket ban on whatever gun they feel like at any point in time. So if it turns out it's a weapon that was, you know, normally available to legal gun owners or people with a license, they could just simply ban it because, oh, it was using this attack, it's therefore scary, it's therefore bad, we need to ban it. And it'll be because of pressure from politicians, but the problem is it's under the jurisdiction of the RCMP and they're not beholden to anybody. They can just do what they want arbitrarily. That may be overstating things a little bit, but I don't think I'm wrong in that assessment. And I think if you ask gun rights activists in Canada, they'll tell you the same. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the whole coverage and unfolding of news with regards to the Quebec City mosque attack. I gotta go to work. Thanks very much. Talk to you later. Bye.